Hello and welcome again in terms of another video for this week. Um, I didn't want to show up until I figure out almost all issues that has been going on all day today, which is Thursday. I had a couple of questions in regard project 6, which is input validation, and I explained input validation in terms of the lecture. Input validation, and this is quick lecture. Input validation, the programmer will use it to ensure that the data is being stored in the database meet what the programmer want, because we are in applications and programming. If you present a garbage data, it will store and give you a garbage data. If you store a bad thing, you will get a bad thing. That's why we need to make sure all things that we are storing is what we wanted. Let me go bring up the lecture for your validation. So this is a quick explanation, and I will let you see the program, your assignment program, with an input validation. Because I did it without an input validation, I didn't want to compromise the assignment by itself. But I'm going to do it so you can understand. I wanted to bring an example that is related to your assignment so you can understand it. So the importance of it is having a data that is being well defined and good in terms of securing an application, in terms of having a good data, not bad data, and so on. So according over here, input validation means to check on server side that the input supplied by the user or the attacker is of the form that you expected, or between two quotations, the right form that you expected. Otherwise, you need to have an error. Most of the time, and maybe you are as a user, whenever you get rejected on something, especially when you are filling an application or filling something and you get incorrect without good or proper explanation, you'll feel frustrated. You need to tell them why you rejected their data, what the reason the data was rejected. Okay, so that's and this is an example of um, data validation. What we check on, we check on phone numbers, whether it's a domestic or international, last names, email addresses, and quantity, and so on. So that's the quick and short introduction about input validation and the project. Now, input validation, I added it on the 23rd, the full lecture. But for today, I want you to scroll down, and we are going to talk about programming. I know most of you not a programmer. I'm a programmer with really like small experience with programming, so I take time to figure out things until I figure it out. That's why I took time in terms of I wanted something really good. So this is your assignment. Project 6, input validation. Over here, you find the answer of the assignment. If you read through it, you will find the answer of the assignment. And that's how we can check, for input validation, how we can check, but in a different way of putting the code. Now let's go and bring Visual Basic. That is your code that you should do an assignment. And you see, I'm already working on it. That's the lab assignment. Over here, you need to type it, and you will have something like this. Disregard this because this is a comment from the application, so don't care. Again, before I start, before I start, you should download Visual Studio Community Edition, which is free, with C++. When you go to create a new project, you need to select console application. Okay? Now, when you select console application, you will have Hello World in the middle. Just delete Hello World and start typing and compare with your assignment. So technically, what you do is just like hold the Windows key and select the side, choose your assignment on the other side. You can see them on one screen, or if you have two screens, that's good. I have two screens, so I switch between them. However, you can do it like this way, but I prefer to have it in two screens. Just minimize this and maximize this. Where's it? Okay. So this is your code. The code asking the user to input 10 different ages. And you can go and you start entering data. You have one age, you have 5 years, you have 99, you have 110, maybe you have 120, yeah, right? Or -5. And we keep going in terms of ages, different ages, and it calculates it. Now, the question is about ages. In terms of ages, do you know someone who's -5 in terms of age? No. Do you know someone over 120? You will find like one, like, you have 100, yes, maybe 110, but it's hard to find. So I need to have a way that I need to tell the program, hey, anyone type a negative, anyone type 0, rejected. So how I will tell the program. If you go back to your assignment over here, and we'll scroll up. The following functions show an input validation to check range or respondless values. And that's exactly what you should see in terms of the age. INT, initial valid number, which is your variable. We have over here main void, the minimum and that maximum. We need to have it over here. Okay. And the age, INT, integer value, CIN value, where you are asking the user for an input. And then you need to check. So let me go ahead and wipe out the comment section on this place. And according to your assignment, I should have the age with minimum values and age with maximum value. And if this is true, I need to have an error message. Otherwise, and ask for an input again. Otherwise, I can go through it. So if didn't, if they are not true. So again, I said that I want the age to be between 1 and 110. And if I get out of this range, I need to have where say enter a number between 1 and 110, or an age. 1 year and run it. Let's see what's going on. Debug started on the other screen. Okay, so I'll say 25, 36, 1, 1, 1, which is over 110. Immediately enter an age between, I need to correct this, between 1 year and 110 years. So I will say 1, yeah, accepted, 110, accepted, and 90, all other are accepted. Keep going, and I have my average. So enter an age between and I need to give these small spaces over here. So let's try it again. Nice. So -6, and voila, you have what we want. Any that's input validation. This is how you can make sure that the user entering a valid data. I hope that I answered the question about what the meaning of an input validation. I hope that I answered how you can do it and how in programming will look like. This is how in programming will look like. Again, each language will different. Each language will use different codes, but in general, I should know what the meaning of an input validation and how I can ensure I am at the correct programming in terms of my programming language.